Fighting the war on plastic rubbish just got easier for recycling businesses. The Provincial Growth Fund is stumping up $40 million for companies investing in converting waste to usable products to try and slow down the amount of low-quality plastic being dumped in landfills. China and other countries refusing to take New Zealand's waste has been a much-needed wake-up call, according to the Associate Environment Minister, Eugenie Sage. Today's announcement comes on the first day of Plastic-Free July, the official start of the ban on single-use plastic bags. Here's our political reporter, Jo Moyer.
The volume of waste going to landfills has increased by 20% since 2008. But Flight Plastics, a recycling company in Lower Hutt near Wellington, is changing the way plastic is recycled and reused. The third-generation family-owned operation received a grant from the government's Waste Minimisation Fund, which helped install the country's first PET wash plant in 2017. PET is low-grade plastic used for things like soft drink bottles and takeaway food containers, which is the most difficult to recycle and most commonly ends up in landfills. Keith Smith is the chief executive of Flight Plastics and says consumers are already on board with recycling, but the funding from the PGF will help other businesses get set up and hopefully lead to more retailers paying to buy New Zealand recycled products.
Every PET container recycled at Flight gets a new life, and they come around and get a new life over and over again. Each time saving the import of new material and saving waste going to landfill.
Eugenie Sage says the current Waste Minimisation Fund is up to $14 million a year, but it's always oversubscribed.
So that's why it is great news that the Provincial Growth Fund is providing a funding commitment to help establish more operations like this so that we recover more materials rather than sending our waste offshore. For too long, we've thought that waste can be sent away. China's National Sword Initiative, its ban on the import of waste products from other countries, has been a wake-up call.
The government says officials will seek out investment-ready proposals of significant scale in regional locations, close to main urban centres where much of the waste is made. Currently about 16,000 tonnes of new PET is imported, but only about 8,000 tonnes is recycled. Mr Smith says since the wash plant was established, there's been a 2,000 tonne decline in PET.
I think what everyone has to understand is it does cost a little bit of money to take care of the environment. And, so sometimes you've got to be prepared to pay an extra 2 cents for your tray of meat. But what you're doing is cleaning up the waste problem. So there is a cost to recycling in country.
It's not only plastics that the minister in charge of the PGF, Shane Jones, has in mind for the money. He says investing in ways to recycle tyres and lithium batteries will also be considered. The self-professed champion of the regions had his own metaphor in mind when explaining the tough nature of the plastic being recycled at the Lower Hutt factory.
If you're made of robust stuff, it just recycles endlessly. There's a political analogy there.
Mr Jones wants to see the fund used for commercial partnerships with Māori as well.
The people who often complain that we've been sluggish putting our money on the line are often local Māori hapu who are sick and tired of seeing the negative downstream impact of landfills.
The announcement coincides with the start of the plastic bag ban, and the government is promising more policy to come on regulating the waste sector. While many shoppers in Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch approached by RNZ this morning were on board with the single-use plastic bag ban, others thought it was a good start but hoped stricter changes were to come.
I think it needs to be more with things like plastic bags with vegetables and fruit and that kind of thing. Cardboard boxes, that kind of thing could be supplied easily.
I see people's bins and they are full of lots of plastic. So I definitely think we one step in the right direction, but there's more that needs to happen.
Retailers face a fine of $100,000 if they are caught handing out a single-use plastic bag. From Parliament for Checkpoint, Jo Moyer.